Patch 10.14 notes. Authors Shio Shuju and Mom Cat. Alright, nice. Ooh, an infographic. Buffs. Alistar, Karthus. Oh, why buff Karthus? Does anyone like playing as Karthus? Karthus is kind of lame. Kha'Zix. Alright, so they're buffing all the really annoying champs to play against. Oh, and Sejuani. This one's huge. Anytime Sejuani gets buffed, she like comes into the meta game fast. Oh, these skins are pretty cool. Ah, so they buff Karthus for the skin, but of course. Alright, so this is the change people are asking me about. Alistar, is he back? Let's see. Alright, they told me the Q cooldown was reduced by 3 seconds, but this is only 2 seconds. So I'm gonna look at Alistar's W cooldown and see if how it matches with the Q right now. So now Alistar's W is only 1 second less than his Q, so you'll have your full combo up a lot sooner together. I'm gonna have to go out and say he'll just be okay, but he won't be a top tier pick because he still has all the same problems where he still has really long CDs. This is still a really long CD. And it's still avoidable by flash, which means in a 3v3 skirmish, if you get your combo flashed on or flashed away from, then you don't even proc aftershock, so you're just a sitting duck. So this might not happen in your solo queue games, but it happens at the highest level. So Alistar's also a champion that's really weak level 1 and level 2, so he doesn't really get that fixed with this change. And so he wants to be able to lane properly early, and that usually means that your jungler can't contest the bot crab, which means that the enemy jungler will get the bot crab, which means that you're gonna have to be playing 2v3 for a while. He won't be bad though. This would make him okay. Alright, Ezreal. They keep doing this. They keep like increasing the E cooldown, Is this really the way to balance this champion? They increased the E cooldown again. Holy moly, that's almost like 28 seconds is for a basic spell cooldown. That's huge. I mean, obviously he's going to keep reducing it with Q, but like, is this the way to balance Ezreal? I don't know. If anything, I think the mana items and presence of mind, that interaction needs to be looked at. It's getting out of control. Everyone's just running the interaction and getting so much free stats off it. Alright, Karthus. Base. Oh, will Ezreal still be viable? Yes, he will still be viable as long as mana means and presence of mind is the thing. Alright, on to the next. Though, what this means is when you're laning against Ezreal, make sure to keep closer tabs on his E cooldown, because this means that you could have 2 sets of an engaged supports cooldowns come up before his E comes up. So let's say he E's your Thresh Hook or Blitz Hook or something. Your Blitz Hook is going to come up, or your Thresh Hook is going to come up before his next E, so that's something to think about. In lane at least. Later on in the game, he'll probably have a pretty reduced cooldown. Alright, Karthus. I'm just going to look at the actual changes. I'm not going to read the paragraph. Health to 550. MS. Okay, so these are pretty big base stat buffs already. That's 22 health and 10 MS. And now we got damage reduction to monsters 15%, but then they buff the damage anyways. So it'll be a slight like nerf to the clear, but overall he could probably still be played jungle, and these changes will overall be a buff for him. And the mana restore is only when toggled off to always. That's kind of big, because if you ever wanted to get mana back on Karthus, you'd have to turn off your E. And now it takes multiple times. These are huge Karthus buffs. These are not small. I could see Karthus being played ADC, mid, and jungle. Yeah, Karthus is definitely the big change of the patch, it seems. This is these are really big changes, especially 10 MS. One of Karthus's weak points was that like if Orianna just threw the bot at him, he wouldn't have enough MS to like dodge the ult or anything like that. He was really prone to skill shots. Now, more MS. It seems to be a trend. They seem to be adding more MS to the game. It's kind of not a good thing, I think. Part of the reason why roaming is so prevalent right now is because everyone has so much MS. Movement speed shit. Q, Kha'Zix. isolated target bonus damage. This seems like a small change, but it could be the difference between one-shotting somebody and not one-shotting someone. So I think this change will make Kha'Zix okay, not like amazing. Like I think Karthus is going to be amazing. Kha'Zix will just be okay. Alright, Pike. Q cost decrease and now scales. Oh man, this is too many words. Okay, magic resist growth. So less MR, less armor, less mana cost on Q, for CD on Q, higher base damage on Q, lower MS on W. So this would make Pike, before you'd max Q into W on Pike, now I'm not even sure if you would max W second, now that you don't get an increase in the MS at ranks. You might go back to maxing E again. So Pike is squishier, but does more damage. Alright, Riven, Runic Blade, 5% buff. I think absolutely nothing has changed for Riven. Actually, it's not the worst, now that I think about it. Late game, this is actually pretty huge. Yeah, maybe it's a pretty big late game Riven buff. Alright, Sejuani. Oh, this is the one I wanted to look at. Permafrost. From 40 to 55 at rank 1. So faster clear early is what I'm seeing here. Stun champions cannot gain frost for 8 seconds from 10. This change is not as big, but this one, the first change is really relevant for her first clear. Will this make Sejuani back in the meta? Maybe. I think she could be okay. Sejuani still has the probably gonna get out kind of paced by some of the meta junglers like Nidalee and Graves will still farm way faster. So this helps, but not by a lot. Alright, Trundle. Okay, so Trundle just got an early nerf to his W, which he maxes last. So this is going to be a nerf all the way up until like whenever you start maxing your last spell. So this one is actually, I would say, a decent sized nerf. I would say he clears like a decent amount slower now. And he doesn't really gain that back until like way later in the game. But junglers don't usually hit that level by the end of the game. So I don't think he'll ever get this back to 100%. I think it'll be a noticeable nerf. Varus, honestly, in my opinion, wasn't really that OP. I was like one of the players that was comfortable opening him. I always thought he was weak to like, if you drafted against him like Drive and Rumble or something like that, you could be vulnerable to getting one popped, and he doesn't really do DPS in fights too. You have to get some poke off prior, but he has good pick potential. So I think any kind of decent nerfs would be pretty devastating for him. So let's look at the change. So Varus Q 125, total 80 from 150%. So 25%, so a quarter of your 80 nerf in damage, and then 5% after you put 5 points in it. So it's a early game nerf. Hail of arrows. Oh, this one's huge. Alright, so Varus just got his entire early game completely gutted. The way lethality Varus worked was that you would like dominate through the early laning phase and then secure like many dragons. And so then by the time like the 3rd or 4th dragon came around and the enemy team got like kind of desperate contesting it, then you would just like throw a couple of Qs and then they'd get chunked and then they'd be like, oh, but we really have to fight it. So then they'll come at you with like half HP and lose the game. But like, yeah, now he doesn't get the early game. You're not even guaranteed to get the first couple of dragons now. Alright, Volley Bear. Attack speed decrease. W healing now halved when targeting monsters. So this is a Volley Bear jungle nerf. 50% on minions and monsters. Okay, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Volley Bear jungle, but what I was noticing was that his clear was very healthy and that he cleared very fast, and that his ganks were actually pretty good with his E into the Q combo. So my guess is that obviously his sustain is going to be lower in the jungle, and so that means that he won't really hopefully be able to look for early cheese ganks. Hoping. I'm guessing this nerf is it's pretty like noticeable on the first clear, but my guess is it'll be fine by the second clear, and that Volibear will still be a power pick in competitive. Yep, that's my guess. Wukong, okay. Our knockup duration decreased. Okay, so they reduced the knockup by 0.15 seconds. How long is 0.15 seconds? So you're telling me I count 1, 2, and that's 1/10 of the time it took me to count that? This champ is still gonna be broken. You can't convince me otherwise. Wukong's gonna be D tier? No, he's gonna be the exact same champion, literally. Alright, so W missile speed increased. Alright, the CD is actually going to be pretty big. So pretty much Zed was going to blink at you a little bit faster. And then he'll have a less CD on his W. This is pretty big because he maxes W last, so this 2 seconds cooldown is going to be a buff throughout the entire early and mid game. So Zed's always historically been weak to like tankier champions and really strong whenever the meta has more squishies. And right now the meta has like squishy junglers, right? Carry junglers. It has I've been noticing like even like carry top laners too. So there's a lot of comps with like low tanks. So I actually think this is a sleeper. Zed is going to be like the sleeper question mark for this patch. He could be really good. I think Zed is always like borderline because his ulti is really low, so he makes picks really easily, and then it comes up again really fast. Alright, Predator is weaker than expected. We're continuing our fine tuning. So actually, whenever I was playing Nunes support, I was taking Predator, and I actually felt with Ingenious Hunter, it was actually like such a short CD. It felt like it was up like every wave. And now, it's even shorter cooldown from 100 to 90. I'll keep my eye on Predator. I think a few more tweaks and maybe it's broken. And then you could run it on like roaming supports. I'll keep my eye on it. Our change to Ghost ended up being a small nerf. So they're talking about stats, I'm guessing. So we're gonna follow it up with a buff, 24 to 48%. So this is the Ghost that I think resets off kills. I mean, I'm always not a fan of adding more MS to the game. I even think Phase Rush should be deleted. I mean, the thing about Ghost is it's really competing with a spot for heal because both of them give MS, but heal also gives HP and to 2 people. So I feel like whenever Ghost is going to be worse than heal, people will take heal, and whenever Ghost is better than heal, people will just take Ghost. So I feel like there's no balance. Like it's either it's heal meta or it's Ghost meta, and right now I think with these changes it's still gonna be heal. Alright, that concludes our 10.14 patch review. Are there any questions, class?